have our second graph with horizontal shifting. Again, you can spot when you'll have a horizontal shift by seeing, do you have anything inside with your x in parentheses? That means you will be shifting your x values, which will result in a horizontal shift. Whether or not you have the shift, though, we will always start the problems out by identifying the amplitude and the period for our graph. Amplitude is found in front of the sine or cosine, that a value. When nothing is there, you know your amplitude is 1. Your period is 2 pi over b, and your b value is always going to be, especially when you have a shift, right in front of the parentheses with the x. So we're looking at 2 pi over 4, which reduces to a pi over 2. All right, next we do want to identify any horizontal or vertical shifting that's happening. Horizontal shift, look inside with your x's. Because it's x minus, your tricky x tells us that we are going to shift in the opposite direction of the minus, so we're going to shift to the right, whatever that is. So we're going to shift to the right pi. Vertical shifting, you want to look for a plus or minus on the end or in the beginning. For example, if you had a +2 or a -3 off on the end, or at the beginning, then you would have a vertical shift. In this case, though, we don't have that happening in our equation, so no vertical shift. We're ready to start graphing our equation. We're going to start with just the amplitude and period, get the size and shape up on your graph, and then we'll do the shift to the right pi. So our amplitude is 1, period pi over 2. We want to think about the fact this is a sine graph, so your sine graphs are going to take that shape. Sine will always go through the origin. And then you want to look at what is your period. Pi over 2 is going to be half of pi, so our entire cycle has to fit between those 2 points. I know the next one is going to be halfway in between. So far we have graphed these 3 points of our sine function. And then just to get the high point and the low point, you're going to go halfway between the first 2 and up to your amplitude, and then halfway between the second 2 and down to the negative value of your amplitude. So there's our graph. Now we look at what the shifting is. We're going to go to the right pi. Pi in our graph is 4 spaces, so point by point, I'm just going to go to the right 4 spaces. And here is our shifted cycle to the right pi. So from here, you do want to go ahead and draw one more cycle on here at least. Go ahead and just figure out where those points are if you're looking for a method to use. You can go point by point, paying attention to what your period is. Our period is pi over 2, which is 2 spaces on our graph. So I can take every point, you know, this one, if I go to the right 2 spaces, I know that's the corresponding point in the cycle after it. This one, if I go to the right 2 spaces, will be right there, and so on and so forth, and that will get you the exact spots where your second cycle is going to go. And there we have our sine graph shifted to the right pi over 2.